one verse. 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 1.
All right.
And it reads, "And David said, Is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I might show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Today's topic today is a cup of kindness. You may be seated. A cup of kindness.
Hallelujah.
You may be seated.
Hallelujah.
I'm reminded of a song that my family sing right after midnight. After for New Year's Eve celebration. And it's a song that was written, it was a Scots poem that was written by Robert Burns in 1788. And it was put to the tune of a traditional folk song,
All right.
and it's called Auld Lang Syne.
All right.
You may have heard of that song. You may have sung it. Auld Lang Syne. And the meaning of it is, Auld Lang Syne means for the sake of old times.
All right.
Or sometimes it means long, long ago. Or days gone by. And it goes like this. It says, should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot in the days of Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of Auld Lang Syne. A cup of kindness. And when I thought about this and I prayed and asked God what to give us today, he gave me something that is for all of us. So children, I want you to pay close attention, because this is for you. This is for your parents. This is even for grandparents. This is for everybody that's in here today. So I need you to pay close attention. When we look at the text, it was talking about the four main characters was David, Saul, Jonathan, and Mephibosheth. So most of you know from Sunday school and Bible study who David was. David was once a little boy who killed the giant Goliath. And he later became the king.
All right.
The king of Israel and the king of Judah. And we know who Saul was. Saul was the first king of Israel. He started off being a good king.
All right.
He was kind. He was kind unto David, and he was the one that helped David to get to where he ended up being in life. But during Saul's lifetime, he became jealous of David. And once he became jealous of David, he spent the rest of his life trying to kill David. And then there was Jonathan. And Jonathan was Saul's son. Jonathan was a prince. But he was not a bad and evil person like Saul. He loved David. He and David was best of friends. They were very close. They were just like family. They would stand up for each other. They would help each other. They were kind to each other. And one particular situation where Jonathan had to go against his own father for David. Because Saul had become so jealous of David that he tried at every hand to destroy him, to even take his life. And so Jonathan said, well, I'm going to be in the palace and I'm going to hear the conversation between my father, the king, and the people that he's going to send out to kill you. And I'm going to come back and tell you so you can escape death and that you might live. So actually, Jonathan went against his own dad to save the life of a friend. He showed kindness. And because he showed so much kindness to David, Jonathan knew that one day David was going to be the next king. But Jonathan wasn't jealous of that. Because the way the structure was, it was usually the son that would become the next king. But Jonathan knew God didn't design it that way. Jonathan knew God could do whatever he wanted to do. And God didn't choose for Jonathan to be the next king, even though that was the traditional order of things. God did something different. He anointed David to be king. So even though Saul, Jonathan's dad, was still on the throne, David had already been anointed to be the next king. So Saul did everything in his power to destroy what God had already put into motion. He couldn't stop it. So as Jonathan went out to help to save David, he asked David to make a promise to him. He told David, I know one day you're going to be the king. I know all your enemies are going to be destroyed. He said, I know you're going to have power unseen. He said, but I ask you to keep a promise to me. He said, in other words, when I'm dead and gone, I want you to make sure that my children are taken care of. Now, I'm putting it in my own vernacular here. If you want to read about it, you can go to 1 Samuel and read about it in verse 20 of 1 Samuel. But he told Jonathan asked David to promise him that even when he was dead and gone, that he would make sure that his children was taken care of. Children, your parents go to a great extent to make sure that you taken care of when they long gone. Pastor and I been working on a wheel. We've been working on this wheel, seems like, for about 8 months. Just trying to get it just like we want it. We just signed the wheel during the Christmas holidays. And as I thought on this story of Mephibosheth, who is the son of Jonathan. Jonathan didn't have but one son. And it just so happened, believe it or not, Jonathan was disabled. He was crippled. He couldn't walk. Both of his legs was crippled. And the way the way Mephibosheth became crippled was when Jonathan and Saul was killed, his father and his grandfather. The nurse grabbed little Mephibosheth up, and Mephibosheth was only 5 years old at the time. And the nurse grabbed little Mephibosheth up and tried to run to escape so they wouldn't kill Mephibosheth. Because when there was a civil war going on to such a nature, and the king was assassinated and killed, and his whole household would be killed. So she was trying to save little Mephibosheth, and she accidentally dropped him. And he became crippled. For the rest of his entire life, he could never walk. Should old acquaintances be forgotten and never brought to mind? Hope y'all following me. Saul and Jonathan was old acquaintances of David. Saul was David's arch enemy, but he had a son. His son's name was Jonathan. And Jonathan was kind to David. So David didn't forget those old acquaintances. He thought about Jonathan. And he thought about Jonathan's kindness and all the kindness that Jonathan had done for him. So David woke up in the palace one morning and he said, "Is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I might show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, we got to be careful how we treat people. Because we don't know when we're getting out of here. And when we leave, guess what? We might leave some children behind. We might leave some grandchildren behind. But when we kind to people, just a cup of kindness, sometimes somebody else might remember that kindness. See, David didn't know Mephibosheth. David had no acquaintance with Mephibosheth. But he knew Jonathan. And he knew that Jonathan was Mephibosheth's daddy. And he knew that Jonathan had treated him very kind when he lived. So he went out seeking Mephibosheth. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go out and help Mephibosheth. Nobody would have never known that he made that promise to Jonathan. But he knew he made it.
All right.
And he knew Jonathan was kind to him. So David woke up and he asked a question. Is there anybody out there left from the house of Saul, that I might show kindness for Jonathan's sake. Not for Saul's sake. Not because I got a relationship with Mephibosheth. I don't know nothing about him. He ain't never did nothing for me. I don't know if he good or if he bad. But I know Jonathan. And when he called the servant, and the servant came forth, and the servant said, yeah, Jonathan had a son. And he lame on both feet. He said he lived in a place called Lodebar. David said, well, go and fetch him. You know how the old people used to say, go fetch him. Go get him, in other words. And so the servant went and he got Mephibosheth. And he brought Mephibosheth to David. And old Mephibosheth was an older person now. The Bible don't say how old, but we know he was a grown man. All right. Wasn't no little 5-year-old boy no more. Y'all ain't gonna stay no 12 and 13 all your life. You're gonna grow up. Don't say that. Pastor and I was in his office today, and we were looking at the picture of Dylan and Bentley and Caleb and Khalil when they were baptized. And Sister Spencer made that picture and gave it to Pastor, and he put it up there on the wall. They just were some little bitty things then. And I looked at them, and I told Pastor, he saw me over there looking, he came over there looking. And I said, you know, honey, I say, one day these children are going to be grown. But one thing I'm going to share with you, when you get grown, don't forget about your church family. Amen. Don't forget about those who labored in trying to teach you and train you and bring you up in the right way. I think about when I was at Greater New Hope, and I tell this story often of a little girl that I used to teach. She was just a little bitty thing when I started teaching her, probably about 6 or 7. And I taught her from some little bitty girl. And as she grew up, I always taught the little girls, you know. I always taught the little girls. And so whatever age group she was, for some reason, I would end up teaching her. So I got a chance to see her grow up and become a young woman and graduate from high school, and got a chance to see her go off to college. Got a chance to see her graduate. Got a chance to go to a wedding. And then when she married a man that had a lot of money. I remember one day she called me at the house. I didn't even think she still had my house number. And it just so happened I was at the house. And she'd say, Sister Caballero, Pastor had just started pastoring. She'd say, Sister Caballero, I want to donate some money to the church. And I said, oh, okay, sweetheart. And I thought she was talking about, a few $100s or something. I said, let me get with Pastor and find out what you need to do to get this money donated to the church. And she said, now, Sister Caballero, I ain't talking about no lip money. And I said, oh, okay. When the first time she gave, how much she gave? $100,000. And I almost had a heart attack. I threw the phone down. I just went to running and screaming and hollering and crying in the house like I had a nervous breakdown. See, I grew up poor. I didn't have nothing, y'all. But this little girl remembered how I labored, how I took time and trained them. And I remember her mom and dad used to always tell me, they say, You spend so much time with these children, you need to be spending that time with Patrick. But I would spend time with Patrick too. Don't get it mixed up. But I donated a lot of time to them little girls. And when she became grown and she educated and good job and good husband and money, she didn't forget me. She didn't forget the church. She didn't give it to me personally. She gave it to the church. So don't forget when you grow up. Because as I was looking at the pictures today and I was thinking about y'all, I said, you know, one day these kids, I already know they already somebody. But these kids gonna be somebody, y'all. That's all I can tell y'all. They gonna be somebody. They gonna have lots of money and they gonna have lots of power. Don't never forget your church. So when I look at Mephibosheth, and I think about Mephibosheth, when they brought Mephibosheth to King David, he didn't feel worthy, y'all. It say he fell down at David's feet and showed reverence and respect for David. And he said, why would you bless a dog as me? So himself as low as a dog. Why would you do this for me? See, it didn't have nothing to do with Mephibosheth. It was all about Jonathan, Mephibosheth's daddy, and the kindness that he had shown to David. Is there anybody left from the house of Saul that I may show kindness for Jonathan's sake? Mephibosheth earned something he didn't even work for, y'all. All because of Jonathan and the kindness that he showed to David. So David told Mephibosheth, he said, I want you to move from Lodabar. He said, I want you to move in my house. I want you to be in the king's palace. So you're not going to eat at no little table all up there by yourself no more. He said, you're going to sit at my table. You're going to eat with me. You ain't going in no slave kitchen back here. You're going to sit at my table. When I eat, you're going to eat. You're going to eat at the same table sitting there with my children. Because you're going to be as one of my own sons. Because of the kindness that your dad showed toward me. He said, not only are you going to eat at my table continuously, in other words, for the rest of your life. He said, but all the land that your grandpa owned, he said, I'm going to restore all of that land. He said, I'm going to give you that land. He said, that's your land. I don't need that land. I got land as far as you can see, from the east to the west. He said, that's going to be your land. Not only am I going to give you all the land that belonged to your grandpa. He said, but I'm going to give you your own servants. You ain't got to serve nobody no more. Running around here, crippled. Barely making ends meet. You ain't got to serve nobody no more. He said, I'm going to give you all. Number one, Saul's servant, Ziba. He going to be your servant. And he says, Ziba got all of these sons of his own. He got so many hired servants of his own. All of them going to be your servants. He said, they're going to go out and till your land. They're going to go and pick the fruit from your land and bring it to you. Make sure you got something to eat. All for the kindness that your dad showed to me. Sometimes we don't understand it. Sometimes we don't understand it. Why people are so kind to us. But it's something way back, something our parents did. Our parents was kind to people. Our parents was nice to people. And all that kindness rubbed off on us. And now we find ourselves being kind. I'm going to give you some lessons on a couple of kindness. Lesson number 1. You don't have to go out looking for kindness. Kindness will surely seek you out and find you. Mephibosheth didn't go out looking for no kindness. David went out looking for him. You ain't got to look for no kindness. You just be kind to people. And kindness will overtake you. Lesson number 2. When you are kind to others, they will be kind to you in return. See, Jonathan showed some kindness to David. David showed kindness to Jonathan, but he also showed kindness to his son, Mephibosheth. Lesson number 3. Sometimes kindness comes from the one you least expected to come from. See, Mephibosheth didn't expect David to be kind to him. He came walking up there. He couldn't walk, but he came trembling and shaking with fear. Because he knew he had heard the story about how his grandpa used David. But David had forgotten grandpa's song. All right. He was showing kindness for Jonathan's sake. Lesson number 4. Always keep your promise. Your word is your bone. That determines your character. Children, I hope you're listening to me. Don't make no promise you ain't going to keep. You promise somebody something, it's best not to make a promise than to make it and not keep it. If your mama tell you to clean your room, do it. Whatever. Don't make no promise. Shouldn't even have to tell a grown people that. David promised Jonathan that he would see after his young one. When Pastor and I made our will the other day, it was all about Patrick. Because we know that Patrick is disabled. We know that if something happened to both of us at the same time, what's going to become of little Patrick? But we put everything in writing. We made it real clear. If something happened to us, this is what will become of little Patrick. I don't know if y'all done that yet. I don't know if y'all looked that far into the future. I don't know if y'all think y'all invincible and you're going to live for the rest of your life. But you need to get your house in order. Because he said, we don't know the minute nor the hour when the Son of God shall appear. I'm going to close with this little story. And I think about when I was a little child, living down there in Liberty, Texas. Living right there next door to my 2 aunties. Mama would sometimes say, Rose, go down the road and borrow a cup of sugar from your Aunt Rachel. And I'd walk down that old dirt road, and I'd say, Aunt Rachel, Mama said, She wanted to borrow a cup of sugar. Mama never sent me to borrow a cup of salt. She always sent me to borrow a cup of sugar. Because a cup of sugar was something good. A cup of sugar was something sweet. A cup of sugar was a cup of kindness. Something good came out of it, y'all. Even though my auntie could have tricked me and gave me a cup of salt, and when you look at it, you probably wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. And that's the way life is, y'all. Sometimes it comes in disguises, and we can't tell the difference. But oh, when you taste it, he said, come and taste it. Come and see. And when you taste it, you know it's the real deal. It's sweet, it's kind, it's good. It's not bitter. And I know a man named Jesus, y'all. He's a cup of kindness. He been good to me. I don't know about you, but he done brought me from a mighty long ways, y'all. Danger seen and unseen. He done brought me through so many perilous situations. And it's proof I'm standing here today to tell you about it. He been good to me, y'all. He been a cup of kindness to me. When I think about Jesus, I think about something good. When I think about Jesus, I think about something sweet. When I think about Jesus, I think about a cup of kindness. Because ain't nobody been so good to me, so kind to me, so merciful to me the way he has. Oh yeah, people have treated me nice. People have treated me kind. But ain't nobody treated me as kind as him. Amen? Amen. Amen.